Everyone enjoys getting out on the town for some live music. And there's nothing like going backstage and down the hall for a VIP pass to the inside information and interviews with the bands, singers, and songwriters that you enjoy. Welcome to Hall Around Town Radio's Backstage Hall Pass, a showcase of homegrown talent, mixing independent music with personal interviews and a behind-the-scenes look at our music community. Backstage Hall Pass is your front row center seat to some great conversation with the area's most talented artists. Whether you like rock, blues, folk, country, or R&B, Backstage Hall Pass delivers you a daily dose of the stories behind the music. And now, here's the host of our show, Scott Hall.
And Ceris.
Hello.
Hi. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Welcome to the program, everybody. It is Hot Topic Tuesday. My hot co-host, Ceris, has joined me. How you doing?
I'm fabulous.
Fabulous. Your hair's on point today, by the way.
Oh, is it?
It is. Yes. Looking fabulous. It is.
Thank
Hey,
you.
we're going to talk about another hot button topic today. We posted on the page.
Everyone riled up on the interwebs.
Woo, the internet is a buzz over this one. And it's interesting because there's so many opinions. And you know what opinions are? Well, we won't say that.
I will.
But, everybody's got an opinion. I have an opinion. You have an opinion. We're going to talk about set list.
Yeah, let's do it.
Today. And it's interesting because this was one of our viewer requests. And I'm happy that people are writing in and giving us topics. So if you're watching this show today, write some to us, send us a message, put them somewhere, send me an email, do anything, hit my DMs, as they say. Slide into my DMs. Yes, we'll get them on. And we'll bring these up because I think this one's going to be a two-parter too. I think it may, the other one went 3 parts because it was a bit controversial. This is interesting.
Think this might be a little controversial too.
I think it might be too. Let's see who's checking in with us real quick while we're waiting on people to get on live here if we can. Oh, we got a hello from everybody. I see Glenn's checking in on the YouTube. He said hi to you. He doesn't say hi to me, jackass. All right. That's all I got to say about that. Matt Matheny. Hey, I got to start out real quick, too, and thank Jason, Cullum, and Kevin last night who had me on their podcast. It'll be aired Friday, but they do a podcast about motivation. And my section last night was on confidence. So I got a chance to talk about being confident in what you do, and that was fun. Okay. So, it's a little 10-minute podcast, goes every week, and I'll post it to our page. But thank you to Jason, if you're watching, or Kevin, for having me on. Let's see who else we got. Don Hudson checking in. Mrs. Hall Around Town here to keep me in line today.
Beautiful, Mrs. Kevin
Cooper says it's getting hot in here. It is. It's going to get hotter. And we'll go through all these as we go. But let's get started with the topic, Ceris. Had someone write in and say they wanted to know if the band, who chooses songs in the set list, and if the venue has anything to do with that. I thought it was a great topic. And so here we are. What do you think? Is it a good topic?
I think this is a fabulous topic, and I have so much to say.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. You with something to say. Hi, Gina. Hi, Chris. So let's start, first of all, with the question that was answered on the page a lot today. Should bands have a set list? Should they have a set list when they come into play? Now, various answers there. It was all over the place. What do you think?
Well, I think for the most part, absolutely you should have a set list. However, there are certain bands that are known and they advertise themselves as being known as having, like, one set would be a set list and the other set would be requests or something like that. But for the most part, you have some sort of structure so you know what's going on. You can move around and switch it up a little bit by playing by the audience. But I think for the most part, have a set list. Why not? Stay organized.
Well, I'm always big on calling an audible, and we'll talk about that. But certainly when you read your room, sometimes you got to divert from the set list.
100%.
And I've seen some of the bigger bands do that as well. Even rock shows that are out there touring in big arenas and that will vary from their set list when they see an audience responds to certain things. And, one of the things that just kind of let's take some people's comments here too. If you guys want to make comments about the set list, And if you think a band should have a set list or a solo artist or whatever, it's a little easier sometimes for a solo artist to come in and just fly by the seat of their pants and play whatever the room wants to hear. And it usually works. But when you're talking about a band, it's tougher. And let's take some comments on that one if we can. And remember, don't write a book, Kevin Cooper, because when I put it on the screen, it covers us up. Kevin has a lot to say on this topic, I know, and I love Kevin.
Well, Kevin's one of those bands that's known for having that take requests, right. But he tells you that up front. So there's nothing like, I mean, that's the hanky panks, and that works out fantastic for them, so that's fine. But he does. But believe it or not, that's still sort of like he knows that set list, that's part of his set list. That's one of his approaches to it,
And guys, if you're making comments, please make your comment clear. Realize that the comments you type in come in sometimes a minute or two later. So we may have moved on talking about something else. So please make it clear what you want to say, and we'll be glad to talk about that. And let's see what Don Hudson has to say. Got to have a set list, but you've got to be flexible. I think that's where it all sums up. But
literally straightforward. Yeah.
One of the things that I know I'm going to get you on a tangent probably when I say this, Ceris, but one of the things that I notice about band set lists is there's this mindset sometimes that the crowd's going to show up later. So we got to save the best songs for last.
Okay. Can we talk about this?
Yeah. Can we talk? Can we talk?
Can we stop doing that, please? I don't know what's going on with all of this. Hey, let's start off the show. Like, why are we saving our best songs and our best set list for the second and third set? I don't know if anybody noticed, but I've noticed. I mean, in my bar, I've noticed, especially since COVID, people aren't really out as late, not like in larger groups as they were before. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing that irritates me more than sitting in my bar wanting to get, inspired by this first set. But the first set, and by their own mouths, is, well, stay tuned for the second set because that's when things get good. What the fuck? What do you mean that's when things get good? I want the things to be good from the very beginning. I want you to catch their attention and keep it there. That's the whole point.
I want you to read Butch's comment. I think that's a great comment.
Where's Butch?
Right here on the screen. It says bands exist to entertain. If the crowd's not entertained, then it's a failure. I mean, you can't sum it up any better than that.
Literally can't sum it up any better. Like, I just please stop saving your best set list for the end. Nobody's there at the end anymore.
Butch is on it, man. He's coming out swinging and keep swinging till the end. Wear the crowd out. I agree. And don't play your best, like pack them all into one set list. I've heard bands stand on the stage, like you said, and announce, okay, you're going to want to stick around for set 2 because that's when the party starts.
I want the party. I want the party to start from the moment you take the stage. And you know what, Don Hudson is correct. But here's the thing. There are so many songs in every single genre. There should be no need for a weak set list. You have 3 exactly, Cooper. If you're doing 3 sets, if you're doing 2 sets, they better both be your best freaking sets. Because that's what we're paying you for. And that's what the crowd wants.
Damn, I love it when you get fired up.
Oh, I'm so fired up.
Makes me let's zoom in on your fired up there today. There we go. So there was a lot of questions and things that came up, and I'm scrolling through as we're talking here, some of the comments today, because there were just so many of them. But, a lot of people, as we were talking with the first question, should a band have a set list? Were like, it was mixed emotions. I mean, you could tell the solo artists were saying, I do that a little bit. I have an idea what I'm going to play, but I kind of play to the room. However, most of the band said, yes, we have a set list, but then many of them said they can call an audible, like we said, and change it up if they need to. And most often it happens. And I've seen it happen. And, why do bands throw obscure songs in the middle of their set list when they're a style or something, and then all of a sudden it takes a left turn and it's like calling a mayday. They crash and burn over it.
Why do bands not focus on their audience?
There's some great comments coming in today. So
Bob Klein, I'm going to talk to you about Dead Space. I have this band. I'm not going to mention their name. They're one of the most talented bands out there, and they bring a lot of people. but it feels like they are taking a 17-minute break between each freaking song. Like enough for me to go
tuning,
come back.
tuning.
Let's stop with that. Let's just stop with that. But yeah, let's keep like the songs need to keep the audience going. We're all getting paid to make people have a good time. That's our jobs. Band, bar venue, all of us.
So if you're just joining us, guys, we're talking about set lists today. Should a band have one? And should they put their best songs in the second or third set list? I like Kevin Cooper's response. Kevin Cooper, you should have 3 great set lists and, not worry about it. Hello, Mr. Burroughs Tavern. Thank you for joining us today. I think that's probably Marcy jumping in. She made a good comment on the page earlier today. Chris Casey says nothing like waiting for a band to decide what song they're going to play. Unbelievably true.
Or knowing what song they're going to play, but they just take the dead space anyways. How irritating is that? Ugh.
Very, very. So you guys out there in the world of the Book of Face and YouTube that are watching today, or if you're watching afterwards, you can throw it in later. Tell us what you think about how a band should adhere to their set list. Now, we're not talking about a touring band here. We're not talking about, when they have 75 minutes, it's got to be perfect. The timing has to be exactly right. All that for the big, large venue with 20,000 people in it. I'm talking about your local band who's just playing out there and playing cover songs or originals. Should they adhere to that set list that they walk in with, or do you think it can be variable? Oh. And who should make the set list? That's another thing. Who makes the set list in the band? I find that one an interesting one that popped up on the page today. Somebody asked, well, who decides what songs the bands play? Because they don't play my song I like. I saw that one come in. So what do you think about that, Miss Ceris?
It's the bands. I'm hiring that band because I like what they're singing. I like when bands show me some set lists so I can see if it's something that, I'm going to like for my bar. In fact, what band was it? It was a very talented band. And because they sent me their set list, we realized that perhaps they're a little just too hard for my bar. And I'm not going to tell them, hey, I really want you to play here, but I'm going to need you to change your entire style and to accommodate me. No, it's not my job to do that. The band, I think it's important for us to be able to have a say, especially after they play once and we want to book them again. I think what are they saying? Yeah, have a say and say, maybe don't do that, or can we fix that? Let me put it to you this way. Can we talk about slow songs and how they destroy?
Oh, I'm getting there. I am, but
I'm there. There.
Go ahead and just pull the trigger then. Okay. All right, let's do it.
Trigger pulled. Hey, everybody, let's have a little talk here. Please don't play slow songs. I don't know. They kind of put people to sleep. The last thing you want to do is have people sit down and remember that it's late and it's time for bed. So every time you play a slow song, that's what happens. Let's leave the slow songs to maybe 1, and maybe that's it.
Oh, you're going to get some people fired up on that one.
I don't care. Listen,
you're going to get people fired up.
The whole point is to keep people there having fun and drinking. And if you are trying to get booked at a venue, then you kind of need to feed into that as well. That's sort of your job as well. If you want to get booked for a private party where you're helping people relax and meditate, then sure, play all the slow songs you want. If you're playing in a huge concert venue like Riverbend, then you get to play some slow songs because those are your slow songs. But come on. We can't put everybody to sleep all the time.
Okay. I'm going to be the little guy on your shoulder, though.
Read your room.
That's going to say this. And let's take Quentin's message there a minute ago about 80s and 90s rock. And let's just say you got a jamming set going to an 80s metal, or 80s, as they refer to it, hair bands. And you throw in Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home, technically a slow song. If you play it well, the crowd's going to love you and they're going to stay there. Absolutely. And they're going to keep going. Absolutely. But if you play a song that makes everyone want to run outside and put their head under their car tire and drive over it 4, 5, 6 times in a row, yes, I agree. It's gonna trash the evening. and it's going to make the crowd fall out. Now, Heath Bowling just laughed at what we're talking about. He said slow song 1. Now, Heath used to be a player that we used to joke all the time about him playing sad country songs through his whole set. Somewhere that he played, that worked. Other places, it didn't. Well, he changed. And now every time I see Heath, and I haven't seen him in a while. I saw him play a festival, I think the last time I saw him. Heath Bowling is bringing it because he's changed up his set list, and people enjoy the upbeat stuff as well. Now, he still does some slow things. And
as he should. I'm not saying take it all out, but if your set lists are predominant, if your set lists are like, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to talk about my bar. No. You want to have a slow song, maybe throw one slow song in there a set. That's it. That's it. The whole point is to get people up and dancing and moving and buying drinks. And the more slow songs, I got to tell you, I recently had a band that I think played 2 or 3 slow songs in a row, played 2 fast songs, went back to another couple of slow songs. I feel like half of the show was a slow song. I was exhausted. I left my own freaking bar to go to bed.
Ouch. Are you calmed down enough for me to talk now?
Yes.
Oh, I love these conversations we have. So I guess what we're saying in your situation, and you want an upbeat bar, okay? You want the upbeat crowd. You want them dancing. You want them buying drinks. You want them staying all night, because that's when, let's face it, the cash register rings. That's what a bar's there for. You're not in there just to be cheers and everybody knows your name. You're there to make money. So
just know the venue. There's certain venues where it's okay, and there's certain venues where it's not.
He says, miseries, yes, Mr. Burroughs, no. Yeah, well, and some bars like that. They like that slow country music, and people go to hear it. They do. And, you'll see them sitting around thinking all the problems they have in life and a tear running down their face and things like that. And if you bring a tear to their eye, you've probably done your job as a musician. But I'm really interested in this, how this plays into the balance on a set list.
I don't want anyone crying in my bar.
I cry every time I go in because you're mean to me.
Oh, well, that's different. That's because you're
okay.
Sally.
Oh, my. We're having fun today, people. Welcome to All Around Town Radio and Hot Topic Tuesday.
I want to reiterate, I understand that there is a need for some slow songs, some minimal. But, if you're playing like a coffee house or a Sunday afternoon or something but a Saturday night at 10:30 p.m., I'm gonna say no.
That all you got to say?
That's it, because I feel like you're judging me now, and I'm a little upset about it. Okay.
You think I'm judging you?
No, I don't care.
I know you don't care. Hold on. There we go. We're back. All right. Let's do this. I like that screen better. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for dropping in. Guys, make some comments out there. There's a lot of them rolling in. We'd love to hear from you about your
okay, Ray, why are you only playing dance and pop in your third set? Do you not want people to dance in the first set?
She says, we found that heavy on the classic rock for set 1 keeps the early crowd in the bar, and everything we play in set 3 is dance and pop. That's interesting.
That's interesting, but don't you think the reason some of the early crowd might stay even later if they could dance?
Well, Karis, this is a whole dynamic too. As you said, you mentioned it earlier in the show. COVID changed the face of how bars operate. It did. It made it an early night. I mean, bands are starting at 7 o'clock now or 8 o'clock versus when it used to be 9:30 till 1 or 2 in the morning. People aren't staying out that late. They got used to being home in bed by a decent hour, as they say. But do you think that the crowd turns over throughout the night? Do you see it in your bar? Is it a routine thing for it to turn over? Or does it only turn over when there is someone who's not entertaining? That's my question.
People leave when there's someone not entertaining, or when they're tired.
Interesting. All right. Chris says mostly limit slow songs and no more than one a set. Now, Chris, you're a dance band. You are a party band. You are. And I even mentioned to you a song you guys played not too long ago in one of your sets that I thought did not fit your style of music. And I don't want to call it a genre because you're all over the place, but your style of music, this song particularly didn't fit. So who decides, Chris Reese, if you're out there again, drop a comment. Who decides what goes on the set list and who decides what doesn't?
Put up Heath Bowling's comment.
I got it. Thank you. Thank you, boss. I'll do that.
Heath, when you get hired at a bar, are you being hired at a bar? Like, I mean, do you go and ask bars to hire your band to play? Because I would assume that we would. And to just so you know, I actually do pay a percentage of the sales to the bands. If they reach a certain amount, then I absolutely do pay that, because then that means people are staying and people are drinking. So that is actually something that I do. But without a band, a live music venue would have no entertainment. And without a live music venue, most bands wouldn't have a job. So you have to work together.
It was interesting. I knew somebody'd take a pot shot at me over that comment I made about that, but nobody's in the bar business to go broke. I mean, I got to be honest with it. I mean, they're there to make money, and most bar owners, I hate to say it, don't give two shits, if I can say that on here, whether or not you as a musician are super happy for the night sitting up on that stage and the crowd interacted with you, as long as they make some money. It's a money business. It's not, I mean, everybody loves live music. Everybody loves to support music and all those things. But let's face it, the musician isn't playing the stage for free, and neither is the bar. They want to earn money. That's my point of that whole thing. I don't know if it was taken out of context there.
I must have missed that. I don't know what that's.
All I said was, you want people to dance, drink, and you make money when that happens, and they stay. I mean, that's your goal every night. I know you well enough to know that. When we were out, even other places, you're looking to see how the bar's doing. 100%. You want to know, because if something's failing, you got to know what's failing and why it's failing.
I can look at my numbers at any time of the night on my report. I can see, and I do enough sites. So on Thursdays, I'm there every Thursday. So I know that from the back of my hand. I know when my numbers are going to drop. I know when they're going to be high, because I've studied that night. It's the same thing that I do with each band that I book. I study that band and what they play and when they play it and what happens to my numbers. And I can say without a doubt, when it starts slowing down, so do my numbers. It's just a fact.
I'm reading Jason's comment. That's interesting, from the countryside, and you don't feature a lot of country bands that come in your place.
You notice they play a lot of slow songs.
They do, and that's what he's saying. I think that you'll find people will mostly request slow country songs than fast ones. And when people go to a bar like that and a venue, most of the time they want to hear those songs. I mean, Garth Brooks didn't make millions off of fast songs. He has some great ones, but he made millions off of nice slow ballads.
Michelle Robinson kills it. She's pretty much upbeat the whole time.
Yeah, she's a stage show. She is. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Glenn had a good point there. If you play a slow song in the first set and no one dances, don't put any more in.
I agree.
I mean, you got to read the room. I mean, and every good musician out there that we know reads the room pretty well.
Casey Gomez, I want to sorry, go ahead. But Casey Gomez has it. And you're right. A good musician should be able to adjust their set list to keep the crowd engaged. But the problem is, not every musician cares to do that. Not every musician cares enough. They just want to play what they want to play and not what the crowd wants. And that's where the problem lays. It would be like me. Well, let's just say, hypothetically, I hate IPAs, so I'm not going to put IPAs on my tap. Well, that doesn't make sense, because it's not me. It's not about me. It's about the people that are coming in. I want to make sure the people that are coming in are happy, because like Scott said, everything in every part of this business, you're there to make money and also meet great people and have great relationships.
Yeah, I think Heath's got a great comment there too. I posted up on the page here. Because some venues, and I've seen it happen, they treat you like a plant in the corner. They just want you to be ambient back music. They could do that with touch tunes. I mean, they really could, and not pay an artist to sit in the corner. And what it just kills me to have, you're surrounded by TVs and everybody's watching the football game and you're just a fixture in the corner for some background music. It's no fun for the artist, and it's really not fun for the customers either. But you summed it up there, Ceris. I mean, it's interesting how the mindset of the customer versus the mindset of the band works sometimes. And, I've seen a lot of bands over the last 3 years here locally and 4 years. And I will tell you that one of the things that just amazes me with them is I go and see a show and I come back 6 months later and I see the exact same. I can almost tell you the next song they're going to play because their set list is so set in stone. And I want to say, why? Why don't you add a song or two? Is it because they don't want to practice? Is it because they can't get together other than gigs? I don't know. The musician's going to have to tell me that, because I am not a musician. Trust me, you don't want to hear me play. Mm-hmm. What's Chris Reese got to say? Spreadsheet of new song ideas. So, Chris, I don't know if I missed your comment there, but who decides the set list totally? I mean, who finally says this is set in stone? This is what we're going to do tonight? Because you guys segue from one song to the next really quick. So I know you're not calling audibles very often. So who decides that? That's interesting to know. And I think your comments kind of summon that up. You do it with the band, but somebody's got to make the final decision in that world. See, I put Casey's up there already. Yes. Chad Robinson, good set list born from good material selection, especially the cover bands, minimal gaps between songs, keep them there and on their feet. Okay.
I agree, Chad.
Pretty much sums it up. It does. So yeah, if you're out there and you're a musician, I want to hear what you think about who makes the set list. We haven't even gotten into the other question I posted today, which fired people the hell right up. And that's, should the venue have input into the set list?
No.
And wow. Ceris doesn't think so. She didn't want to deal with that.
No, I trust.
She's hired you for that.
I trust the music. Yeah, I hired professionals to take care of that. I think, but that also goes to building a really good relationship. That's why I always want to make sure that I'm doing the booking with the musicians, because that relationship with them is very important. And if I do have an issue with like a couple of the songs or slow songs or what it is, I want to feel comfortable to just say, hey guys, I love what you do. But if you notice, and I can show them the numbers that we're losing here, can we pick this area up? I think I should be allowed to say that. And if they don't do that, then that's okay.
I've seen you do that at your award-winning jam night, and it's off the hook most nights. But there are certain times where maybe somebody stays one too many on the stage with the songs or whatever, and you can see the room just deflate. I mean, it's pumped up, and then
it deflates.
It does. You can see it happen.
And I can tell by the first note, I'll be like, oh God, everybody's just going to go now.
So how do you decide to call an audible, bands? How do you decide to say, this isn't working? Our set list isn't looking good tonight with the audience we have. When do you make that decision, and what makes you make that decision? 7, you're talking about you never play the same songs a different night, take requests. You got to have a pretty good songbook to be able to do that. You can't just say, oh, I've got about 2.5 hours of material, because then you're going to play the same songs every night. And I know 7 and Jason, they have a bunch more than that they rotate through. And they're predominantly doing country music. And it doesn't all have to be downbeat and slow. What's Heath's pet peeve?
That's my pet peeve too.
Oh, I hate that. I do. That just frosts me.
I cannot stand when venue owners leave a TV on right above the musician. Pick one or the other.
I worked at a place where you'd stand on this stage and play, and they had a big giant projection screen behind you that actually, when you were playing, you were as silhouetted on there from the light from it. And I was like, why don't you just turn that off and put the screen up,
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Such little respect for the musicians that are on stage. I understand, and I do it. I keep TVs on the other, but there was a reason why I would never put a tacky TV anywhere near my stage anyways, but I can, I just think it's very disrespectful for the musicians.
I like Patrick's comment too there. He's talking about your venue's patrons are actually your boss in a sense.
It's true. The patrons are the boss of me as a venue owner, and the patrons are a boss of the bands. They pay our bills. Quentin just loves to pump up his band.
He does. He's a ladder fanatic because he's in it. That's good. I don't mind shameless plugs on here.
Why? I love it.
That's good. I'm going to try to keep the comments coming, guys. But we're talking about, if you're just joining the program here at the 30-minute mark, which we're going to have to go soon, we are talking about set list. This is obviously going to have to be continued into another show where we're going to get it more into how do you pick the trends in a set list? How do you build a crowd up? Because I come from a background where I was a DJ in the let me date myself, back in the days of disco and on, and there were beats per minute in songs for a reason, and they were printed right on the label. So as you build the crowd with a certain beat and you build the beat up and up and up, and then you bring it down to the slow jam or whatever, there was a method to that madness because that kept the crowd on the dance floor. Otherwise, if I'm out there playing a song that's 120 beats a minute and then I drop it to 80 with the next song, it's like they hit a wall, they're just done.
And also there's a certain time, like, people are usually raging at a certain time of the night, and you learn that by playing that venue. I know you can't figure that out on the first night. I don't expect anybody to. But if you've played my venue in a couple of times, then you should know around what time we are at our peak. There is nothing more irritating than being at your peak, and then slowing it down with a couple of slow songs.
That's an interesting opinion. I mean, I think that works in your place. It works in a lot of other places. And
it's knowing your place.
What's the peak in a country bar? I don't know.
A band doesn't know that until they've played that venue a couple of times. I would never expect a band to know that the first time that they're playing by any means. I do sometimes let them know, just so you know, we tend to be busiest around this time because Go Bananas lets out. So we want to make sure we're upbeat and we've got something going. But in every bar, you should learn that you need to pay attention to that. I pay attention to every little thing. But that's just me.
I agree. You do pay attention to everything. That's why you have a successful place. That's why your backdrop looks the way it is. That's a whole different world. That's why every picture that's taken of an artist on your stage has your logo in the background. I mean, that's smart business. And you don't have, you even widened the stage and opened it up more not too long ago because you saw the need to have bigger bands up there and those kind of things. So you're always trying to improve and do that, Ceris, and that's why you're on here, and that's why we're talking about this today. And, Ceris is going to be the co-host on this show from here on out. We would love for you, if you're watching today, to submit some ideas for a Hot Topic Tuesday that we can talk about and get Ceris fired up on. And I enjoy doing that. But we're running out of time today, so I will say the set list is going to be a two-parter. We'll bring it to you again next Tuesday and finish this thing off. And I'm getting some great comments here. We will read all of them. We will.
It's not as hard as you think.
What do you got?
He said, I'm afraid I'm going to hit my head. I'm good. Don't worry.
Oh, you're reading ahead on the comments. I didn't see that. Yeah. And he said, add 5 songs a week. I mean, keep it fresh. You've got to. And otherwise, you're the house band that everybody expects the same songs. And I played in a country band when I was younger, and we played the same crap 5 nights a week. I'll say it now. I mean, it was ridiculous. But you had that little group of people who, for lack of a better term, thought they owned the band. So they'd come in every night, sit in the same chairs, and do their thing. So, it's interesting how that works. Some of the regulars who come in want certain songs. And, that's interesting, Butch. Man, this group's getting all philosophical on us today. I like it.
The audience changes, but what usually is pretty steady is if they're going out to have fun.
Right. And Casey Gomez, that's spot on as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Make sure it's a banger slow song. Yeah, I mean, they didn't make monster ballads for anything for the 80s bands. I mean, they did ballads, but they were rocking.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Trans-Siberian Orchestra play all weekend. They Trans-Siberian Orchestra doing Christmas tunes, but they're rocking them out.
Yeah, I'm excited to work with Casey because I feel like we vibe. We're very similar when it comes to that sort of stuff. So that's good. I'm excited for that.
He's a good dude too. You'll enjoy working with him.
Yeah.
And thank you, Crescendo. Guys, I'd love to get to all your comments, but we got to run. We're making this way too long today. But we appreciate you being here and talking about it. If you have input and you're watching after we're live, please drop it in the comments.
Look at his comment.
What'd he say? I'm way behind. Is this that one?
And funk. No.
Which one?
I ever played the bell. I'm doing 3 hours of sad disco and funk.
I'm so far behind in the comments. It's not even funny here. But yes, we'll get to all of them. And it is a science. I agree with that, Scotty Long. It's a science.
It is.
And the same goes with live music. And my God, look at the comments. I've missed like 40 comments here trying to get them up on the screen. Just can't get it done today. But Kevin Cooper, thank you for your insight always. And yes, be a band you would go see. That's perfect. It is. That's great philosophy. And, not everybody's for every band.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not. I mean, there's people that love Kevin's band, the Hanky Panks. Other people who'd walk in, see their set and say, it's not for me, And same way with heavy rock. I mean, the guys that played with Jeff Tate over the weekend, the opener for Jeff Tate, heavy rock. If you're not into heavy, I mean, heavy, you weren't into that music, but there was a lot of people there to see Jeff Tate. Interesting. So that's it for the day. Ceris, what are we gonna mention next week on this topic? Anything else you want to give everybody a little tease about? Are you there?
I'm here.
Bueller.
I feel like it's pretty similar, correct? I'm going to get riled up. You're going to calm me down, stuff like that.
There it is. I want to see that 3 hours of sad disco and funk. There are some sad disco funk songs out there. Mr. Burroughs checking in again. She's excited about the Hanky Panks recently booked them. Good deal. That'll fit well at Mr. Burroughs. It will.
They packed that place the last time they played. I think it was last weekend. From like beginning to end, they were people dancing in every corner of the room. So that night, it worked. And
Kara, speaking of Mr. Burroughs, I am headed there.
All right. Have a good one.
And I'm going to do some trivia tonight at 7:00. Love to have you join us. Thank you all for watching. Huge numbers today. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Please share this show with your music-loving friends and bands and have them chime in. We'd love to hear from them. Want to hear your comments next week. We'll tweak it a little more and talk a little more about the methodology of a set list and how you do your songs and how you peak at the right time and all those things. And I'm going to try to get somebody to join us in that. Liz, bye. Thank you. And guys, thank you.
Comments.
See ya, Heath. Thank you. Appreciate all your comments today, guys. On behalf of All Around Town Radio and my lovely co-host, Ceris, thanks for watching today. We'll be back with you tomorrow with Wednesday with the band and Thursday, Who's Playing Out, brought to you by Froggies in Monroe. Until then, bye, everybody. Give them the wave. Give them the parade wave.